Hi, Gerhard Bloom, once again, looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. Do you remember that song, California Dreaming, the mamas and papas? All the leaves are brown, all the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray, and the sky is gray. Some guy is dreaming of moving to California where it's summer all year round, except absolutely nobody is sharing in that dream right now. The California dream is turning into a nightmare. People are fleeing the state. This is a fact. Since 2020, about 700,000 people have left. Couldn't get away fast enough. This is historically unprecedented. California was once the place where people from across the United States sought to live. And people from around the world sought to live. I remember reading Arnold Schwarzenegger's Education of a Bodybuilder. He was in the middle of Graz, Austria. So you look at a map of Austria, it's in the middle of nowhere. He dreamt of moving to California. People who later became movie stars and cultural icons moved to California from around the world. Now people are leaving. Leftist policies are rapidly destroying the state on virtually every conceivable metric, from employment to crime, education, failure, wealth distribution, amongst the highest wealth inequality gaps in the United States. This is from leftist California. Surprise, surprise. Maybe leftist policies don't actually reduce wealth inequalities. Well, they don't. And homelessness. I believe California is by far the leader in homelessness in the United States. Yep, California is failing and failing fast. And its energy policies. By 2045, it wants 100% of its electricity to be renewable and zero carbon, net zero. This will not happen. No, and it will entail a whole lot of extremely high energy costs and extremely unreliable energy. That's right, power outages. You'll be told not to plug in your Tesla. This has already happened in California. All the food in your fridge and your freezer rotting, and you can't drive your car, right? Your electric car, waving that virtuous banner of yours, driving the Tesla. And champagne liberals, they used to be able to escape the chaos and the dysfunction of their policies behind gated communities and the violence and the social erosion that surrounded them. Well, now it's reaching their doors. As a strategic intelligence analyst, I worked in Mexico and Central America. This is what's the future of California. In Central America, if you have any money at all, you live in some gated community. When you leave, you go with armed guards. You go in a convoy of armed guards, and still people get killed. These rich elites, they get killed because they can't escape the crime that's all pervasive. This is what's happening. And the leftists that are staying, are they admitting they're wrong and trying to reverse course? No, because they're committed ideologues. They continue to fuel this social erosion with more and more of their socialist policies. Yes, the soft on crime DAs. The smash and grab looters, instead of being in charge with indicted, they're left off with misdemeanor offenses that are never followed up. And defunding the police, allowing smash and grab looters to grow to a state where these police are now overwhelmed because the police forces have shrunk because of the millions of dollars of defunding. The police simply can't intervene. They're overwhelmed. And yes, ignoring the open use of drugs and the violence, the public defecation, and the chaos that surrounds it. Check out Sullenberger's book, San Francisco, the complete and utter erosion of the city of San Francisco. Running a budget deficit of $32 billion, it is seriously flirting with the idea of giving descendants of slaves up to $1.2 million each. California never had slaves, and it never had Jim Crow. The sane citizens are fleeing like rats on a sinking ship. Businesses are closing up shop in the face of the high taxes, the crime, and the violence. Billions of dollars in potential tax revenues have been lost as corporations relocate. This will inevitably lead to a spiral of death for both the state and individual cities. in order to cover the costs in lost tax revenue, they will need to become ever more creative in finding ways to tax the people that remain, and thus driving more and more people who have the ability to leave. And they will. And they take their assets and resources with them. The remaining will be this ultra elite rich class living behind gated communities with private security and a mass of poverty-stricken, welfare-dependent poor. And the cynic in me thinks this is exactly what these social justice warriors want at the national level and at the international level. World Economic Forum, right? Controlling every aspect of your life, reducing you to poverty and dependency so they can control you and do what they want because, yeah, they're the elite experts, except they're wrong each and every time. Marxists, remember, this was scientific socialism, and it led to the death of 100 million people in peacetime by their own governments. Scientific socialism. It wasn't scientific at all. It was nonsense. Same with this. For the rest of us, witnessing this should serve as an important lesson. We have a natural experiment going on in real time. Compare conservative Florida with leftist California, and the comparison tells you everything you need to know about this leftist ideology. And yes, please do check out my book, Deconstructing Social Justice. It's available on Amazon. It's not important because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and please do drop a thumbs up. Bye-bye now.